All right, guys. So we have Jamie Cochran here. So Jamie and I, we met about a year ago at a mastermind, but we didn't really have a chance to connect too much. So I figured I'd bring Jamie on and we can kind of talk to each other and, hopefully share some valuable insights with you guys in the group too. So Jamie, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey man, love being here. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So before we started, Jamie, you started to share with me, more about your background and how you got started in the space. But just for the audience, so why don't we sort of rewind the clock and why don't you talk about kind of how you got into this industry and what things looked like for you back in those times?
Yeah, I mean, really got involved more on the e-commerce side. Back around 2010 is when we really started to create offers online. And back in those days, it was really easy to get as much traffic as you want. I mean, it was easier in the sense that there wasn't as much competition, of course. And so we were focused more on digital products back then. And then we transitioned more into physical products around 2013 and 14. And it was definitely more of like the Wild Wild West, obviously. And, it's becoming a lot harder with Facebook and, the amount of reach you can get. And so things have changed, obviously, in the last 10 years. But yeah, that's when we started marketing our own offers. It was around 2010.
Yeah. So you said you started out in the biz op space, right? So how are you acquiring traffic for the offers back then? Was it just strictly through affiliates? Did you have a media buying team? Tell me about that.
It was strictly through affiliates, through a couple big networks at that time. And so, yeah, we didn't have our own media buying. We never attempted it at that time. It was just all through networks.
So how did you even find out about the opportunity of like building an offer and getting affiliates and doing all that? Was that something that somebody kind of brought you in on, or how did you even learn about that opportunity?
Because I was in the business opportunity space and I would attend the affiliate summits. And even though we hadn't, attempted to do online offers yet, we were still connected in the affiliate summit space because they were creating leads for us because we had call centers at that time. We were getting leads.
Yeah.
And so we would attend the events to talk to people that were creating leads. And then that's how you kind of get introduced to that world. And, your eyes kind of get open like, oh, wow, like if they can do it, then I'm sure I could do it,
Sure.
Yeah.
So what were some of the struggles that you came up against? So did things kind of take off for you right away when you got off in the info space, or was there like a handful of big problems and challenges that you really had to overcome before you saw success?
Yeah, the first year was rocky for sure. I mean, just like a lot of the obstacles you have, fraud, bad traffic, chargebacks, all those issues that you just aren't aware of until you actually start running, of course. And you don't catch those things until a lot of times it's too late, right? You'll let a bad affiliate run for way longer than they should have, and then that really eats your bottom line. And so it took a good year to kind of iron those things out and say, okay, this is how we look for bad traffic. This is how we, figure out what's quality, and this is how we understand what the lifetime value of a customer is, because you're just kind of figuring things out, and you really don't know at that time.
Right. So you were kind of able to work through those things, and then things started to really kind of scale and take off for you on year two?
Yeah, about year two is when we started to become really profitable and kind of figure out, okay, how do we scale more and how do we get better margin?
Yeah. So tell me about that. So how did you end up scaling more? Was it just a matter of just getting more affiliates or trying to get more production out of the affiliates you had, or how did you actually go about that?
It was more like focusing on more verticals. So, we realized that, there's only a certain amount that you can kind of go through with each vertical that you're doing. And so we made the switch to be like, okay, well, we're in the, business opportunity space. And so, what else can we do? And that's when we started looking at nutraceutical products.
Yeah.
And so once we figure out a product, then we would, switch to a different type of vertical, whether it be diet or skin, male enhancement, CBD. And then you can kind of just, try to get to a certain amount on each vertical to scale.
Sure. So where were your affiliates having success? Do you know, like what kind of traffic sources were they really hammering to drive that volume?
I think in the very beginning, it was mostly Google. And then that obviously changed around 2013, 14, when more social media with Facebook, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Email was always kind of a staple for us. It was never a big traffic source, but it was always a consistent and always there. And still was, up until now, it's still even there. But I would say, obviously within Facebook, the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, you could get massive scale on that platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, that's very interesting. So one thing that I noticed that you post about, like you like to do a lot of like outside investing too. I noticed that you were doing some investing in real estate related stuff and whatnot, which I think is very interesting because I think that it's really important when you start to make money in this space, that especially in this industry, it's not always the best idea to reinvest every single dollar into the primary business and not take a lot out. Could you talk a little bit more about like your mindset towards investing and diversification and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if you've been in the space long enough to know, every campaign has its course. And after a while, it's tiring to be like having to set up a new campaign and then hope that it works. So you're investing all this time and money. And so I just wanted to be able to take as much chips I could off the table without, crippling my business or, preventing future growth or projects, but take the majority I can. I lived really, really lean in the beginning years because I just wanted as much savings as I could. And then I just wanted to deploy that mostly in the real estate, to where I could just get residual income that would cover all my needs and a great lifestyle. And so that way there was less pressure of whether, the campaign worked in order for my family to eat, right? Like yeah. It was more because I'm doing this for fun, and it was more because of the challenge and it's exciting and you're passionate about it, but not so much out of necessity, because I think when you're running businesses out of desperation is when you make the worst mistakes.
Yeah.
And so I think, for me, it was, trying to understanding that everything runs its course and try to take as much money as you can and put it into something that's going to be around, longer than I'm going to be around, which is real estate. And so that's always been my key.
I think it's just an important way to look at things. So you have to look at anything that you put your money into as if it's just an individual stock. And even if it's your own business that you fully own and fully control, at the end of the day, that's just one single stock. You know what I mean? So it's going to have its own ups and downs. Maybe it's in an upward trend. Maybe your business is actually in a downward trend. But it'd be very, very unwise for somebody that's starting to have success in business to just keep every single dollar they have in, even if it's their own business, because at the end of the day, what the best approach is to like long-term wealth and long-term success is a diversified approach, where even if one thing starts to decline, or even if one thing takes a dip, or if one thing takes off, it doesn't provide a significant amount of risk,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you want as many streams of income, right? So as an affiliate, like if I was an affiliate, you want 10 offers and you want to be able to, probably divide your traffic evenly amongst those 10 and hopefully find the ones that are giving you the highest payouts. And then even then you look at that as one source of income, and then you take your money and you're going to want to put that somewhere else to get another source of income. And the more sources you have, then, you feel good about life.
I think really the best types of the sources are just like stable assets that can provide residual income, because this is essentially how you can almost like escape the rat race of being an affiliate. If you can manage to make enough money to invest into enough assets that provide enough passive income to supplement your affiliate income, then essentially what you can do is you can actually retire off of the affiliate marketing industry after a certain point. So, I'm personally not there yet, but it's something that I'm actively working towards, even in my own business, is investing enough money in the markets or whatever the vehicle is to essentially one day have the option to not have to work anymore, right? So
yeah, I think that's the key, is like you work because you want to, and do things on your time and that you're passionate about. And I've been fortunate, to get to that point. And I think the best advice I would give to an affiliate that's, making money or up and coming is like, don't fall in that trap of, once you're making money, to live a lifestyle that, can support that. Just because you can't afford a sick car doesn't mean you should, or just because you can afford pop bottles on the weekends with all these other guys that are crushing it doesn't mean you should.
Right.
And so, I'm not against that. I'm just saying that, like, do that once you're wealthy, or have someone else pay for the tab if you're going to go pop bottles, right? Like, just save as much money as you can. And then, like you said, put it in the assets that are going to pay you over time, and, give you the financial freedom, because that's probably why you're in the space. That's why you're running offers. That's why you want to do it, is that you want financial freedom. So
at the end of the day, nobody wants to be, running campaigns until they're in a coffin. So it's important to have, this mindset of essentially being at the point where you could take yourself out of the business and retire, right? So Jimmy, could you talk? So you've had some success investing into real estate. That seems to be like the vehicle that you've picked as far as creating passive income and diversifying your investments. So can you talk about what's maybe worked for you on that front?
Yeah. I am a big fan of syndication on the real estate side, because I was so focused on, running campaigns and whatnot. I didn't have the time to go shop real estate or want to, find deals. And so I actually started doing single family, and I would just kind of work with property managers in certain areas that I liked, and said, hey, like, what's good markets? What are you seeing? And then when, houses would come up, I would just snag them, give them to the property manager, and then do that. I did that for like 4 or 5 years, and I didn't like it, because at the end of the day, once you get to like, 30 houses, it's still a pain in the ass to like pay the property taxes on them and the insurance, and then you're managing the property managers. And it was just kind of like, it was really hard to scale, because, it's one house at a time pretty much. And so that's when I started to get into multifamily and finding syndicators that would do that. So I work a lot on CrowdStreet on that platform, which is a great platform. You can find, really good syndicators. I do a lot with Grant Cardone. I know his twin brother, Gary, which is an amazing guy I've done business with, but I've got millions with Grant, because I just trust his philosophy and what he does. So he finds the deals, he buys the deals first, and then he essentially pays himself back with investors' money. And you get a 6% preferred return, and then like a 65-35 above that 6% preferred. So I would rather have someone else do the work and have them take a little upside, and then I can just stay in my lane and focus what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And that's kind of worked out for me. So those are the things I really like. I've done, some in agriculture. I have some mango farms and avocado farms and some aquaponics in Thailand. And I like agriculture as well, kind of as a long-term deal as well. But real estate, on the multifamily side, it's kind of recession-proof. It's really good tax breaks. So most of your income's tax-free that you get, because you get a lot of depreciation.
Yeah.
And it pays you every month. So it's kind of a steady Eddie, something you can just hang your hat on.
Yeah. So I think your approach has definitely been good. So I've been looking to get into real estate. I've been following Grant Cardone for some time. I'm definitely interested in the multifamily space. So I'll explain kind of like an experience that I had in the past year. So I started to kind of take Grant Cardone's advice and just start like looking at deals, and just start kind of breaking down the balance sheet of these deals and examining how the cash flow would work. And it was last year, there was this multifamily deal that I was looking at. It was like a 12-unit apartment complex here in Charleston, South Carolina. And, I spent probably like 2 months doing due diligence on this deal. And, I ended up kind of realizing that maybe it wasn't the best deal, because it was built in like 1950, which would mean that it's a 70-year-old building. And, from what I learned from Grant Cardone, you don't want to be looking at much below like 1970s or so, because there's going to be a lot of deferred maintenance and a lot of things that could potentially go wrong over the course of you owning it, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the cash flow of the deal was so strong that I knew it was, probably going to make money, but the only way that I was going to buy it was basically, making an offer that was like $100,000 under their offer price, which was like $700,000 or something they were asking. So I don't know. I ended up making the offer, but they ended up rejecting it, and I ended up kind of wasting like months of my time because I literally spent months going through this entire process of finding the deal and doing the due diligence and getting to the point of making an offer. So I think what you made sense of working with the syndicator makes a lot of sense, especially if you already are an entrepreneur and you already have a business that you're devoting 100% of your time to, because let's just be honest, there's only so much time in the day. And, if you have a business that's making money, then you want to keep 100% of your focus on what's working for you. And working with a syndicator sounds like a great option because they're doing basically 100% of the work as far as finding the deals and doing all the due diligence. And all you need to do if you're working with a syndicator is just send them your money, right?
Yeah, that's it. Like, that's the beauty of it. You just send the money and then you can just focus on what you're good at. And,
Sure.
I don't want to pretend that I'm good at real estate when I'm not. And so I would just rather pay 25, 35% of the upside to someone who is better at it than me.
Because at the end of the day, if you're actually doing all the investing yourself, you're essentially creating a second business. And it's a business that, if you're already making, X amount of money a month in profit in your own business, this is another business that's going to require all of your time and energy to really do efficiently. And, even just that 12 apartment deal I had, I mean, those are 12 people that I would have needed to talk to every month. I mean, the deal wouldn't really provide enough cash flow for me to hire a full-time manager. Maybe not, or probably not,
Right.
So, it's just important to look at things from that perspective for sure. So, yeah, anyways, I wanted to keep this brief. Normally these interviews are about 15 minutes, but I think that, we've gotten a lot of good insight out of you, and I think a lot of good takeaways that people could definitely apply to their own business. So is there anything else that you want to share before we jump off?
No, man, I appreciate, the opportunity, and, hopefully, people within your network and your listeners can get some value and just, still be excited about the opportunity that the internet is, right? Like it's still, I think a lot of times we feel like, there isn't much meat left on the bone, but that's just not true. Like there's just so much opportunity, and there always will be. And there'll be more platforms being, coming on, and like, I hear people are crushing it on Snap now, and TikTok might be a great way to do some affiliates. And like, there's always going to be something. And so, a lot of times you can get frustrated if you're not seeing the progress you want or not, and just stay at it and just stay motivated and excited. There's just so much money out there.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the internet marketing space, especially the affiliate marketing space, is just like far in its infancy. I mean, even if you look at back in 2010, like the ecosphere of like what offers there were to promote or how many people were doing affiliate marketing. And, fast forward today, there's more options. There's more kind of legitimate use cases for affiliate marketing. And that trend is really just going to continue. Excuse me. Think about like how many companies are really utilizing affiliate marketing, like major brands to, acquire customers. I mean, it's a trend that's just starting to take off. And, if you mention like CPA marketing or affiliate marketing, any like major companies, maybe it's like something that they know about. Likely they're not even really aware of the opportunity. So in my opinion, it's a really exciting space to be in right now. I think that over the next like 10 or 20 years, the trend of more and more legitimate companies like utilizing affiliate marketing for their, at least part of their customer acquisition, and just the opportunity for affiliates to make money in general is just going to become more and more prominent over the next couple decades. So it's a good space to be in for sure. And like Jamie said, if you haven't gotten the results, definitely don't give up because you're in the right place. So
Cool.
Jamie, thanks so much for coming on, man. And yeah, looking forward to working together potentially in the future and anything that we can do. So
Sounds good, man.
Hop off now, but I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. See ya. Take care.